Hey Michigan State fans, it's Jacob Katsunigi here, back for another episode of the Michigan State Spartans Insider Podcast. Again, all the focus right now, seems to be on the football team, but Michigan State basketball just released their full non-conference schedule the other day. They don't have to play a true regular season road game, but boy, this thing is going to be a doozy for this year's men's basketball team, so without further ado, we're going to go game by game and just kind of talk about each one briefly and kind of give you guys a preview on what to expect from this team before they get into the depths of Big Ten play. Exhibition games, usually expect to see some Division II opponent. Ferris State played them in an exhibition, but they're not going easy on them with the exhibition schedule. They're going to play a home exhibition game against Bowling Green. Again, not a great MAC program over there, but they came into town for a real regular season game last year, and you can't really forget what happened because Bowling Green could have very well won that game. And they were up by 8, as much as 8 in the second half of that one. They were up by 12 in the first half. They really gave, the best team in the Big Ten a serious run for their money and a real scare. Michigan State had to go on a big giant run. I believe it was 18-0 to go ensure that they won that one by about a dozen or so. And after that, another exhibition game, but you've got to go play UConn on the road. It's going to be a little difficult. Again, they had a down year last year. I think they were an 8 or a 9 seed in the NCAA tournament, but you know what kind of program they've got over there in Stores with Dan Hurley and everything going on. They won back-to-back national titles recently. They're generally going to be a juggernaut, and you're going to go right into the weeds of things by playing a road game against that type of team, even if the game doesn't count. Again, even though they're exhibitions, you can expect some really good atmospheres. You can think of it back to when Tennessee came into the Breslin Center for an exhibition game. It was for a charity for Maui after the wildfires there. It was electric inside the Breslin Center, even though the game didn't count. Season opener. It's against Colgate. You can let the toothpaste jokes fly, but Colgate is one of those sneaky games. Izzo doesn't really like to schedule. When he schedules a mid-major, he doesn't like to schedule bad ones. He likes to schedule good mid-majors, and Colgate is one of the crown jewels of the mid or low major level. They've made 5 out of the last 7 NCAA tournaments. They're probably the best program in the Patriot League. Had kind of a down year last year, but they still played a couple of power conference teams in their non-conference schedule, and they played them tough. They played Syracuse on the road and only lost by 2, and they also went into Rupp Arena in Kentucky and wasn't that close, 11 points, but that's a lot better than a lot of Patriot League level teams are going to end up doing. And then after that, you got to go play Arkansas. It's a home game. That's going to be a real interesting one. Again, you have Coach John Calipari coming into the Breslin Center for the first time. I think when he was at Kentucky for a long time, I think he played a game in the Palace, but he hasn't been to the Bres and faced up against the Izzone. You got 2 of the best college coaches to ever do it facing off in that one. That's going to be one that's going to be circled on the calendar. San Jose State, not the most interesting opponent. Kind of interesting. They're going to make them fly all the way out from California for this one, but they play in the Mountain West Conference, and after seeing what the type of fight that New Mexico put up against Michigan State in the NCAA tournament, that's not a conference I'm really ever going to discount. Again, it goes back to Izzo really likes to play these solid mid-majors. Even if they don't win a lot, they're going to be teams that aren't necessarily scared to go up against teams from the Big Ten, from the SEC, and so forth. Champions Classic comes after that. It's Kentucky. Blue blood opponent. We already talked about Coach Cal. First season under Mark Pope was pretty solid. Made the Sweet 16. And again, this is Kentucky we're talking about. You're not going to just waltz in to Madison Square Garden, which has been a place where MSU has struggled historically. But you're not going to just waltz in and beat Kentucky. You got to bring it that day. Detroit Mercy after that. That'll be a kind of a nice story. The head coach over there, Mark Montgomery, was a former Spartan, played here, and was also had 2 stints as an assistant here under Tom Izzo. Again, Izzo likes to do that. He likes to give his former assistants the shot at him as well. Then you have the Fort Myers tip-off. Again, these will be 2 kind of intriguing games. You have East Carolina, and then on Thanksgiving you play North Carolina. They like to play North Carolina a lot now, it seems. They played them in Maui last year. That was a heck of a game. And played them in the NCAA tournament the year before that. So, again, another blue blood opponent. Down year for the Tar Heels last year. They made the NCAA tournament just barely. Probably shouldn't have, but that's a conversation for another time. And then it's fitting, you played North Carolina, and then who's next? You got Duke coming into the Breslin Center. I don't think I need to tell you what to expect out of that one. Cooper Flagg's not there anymore, but this is Duke. John Shire has filled the shoes of Coach K. It's about as good as one could possibly do so far. They were, I don't know how they lost that game in the Final Four last year. Kind of a tough choke job, but they were probably the best team in college basketball last year. They didn't get the award for it, the national title, but they were that close. It's Duke. What more can I really say? They're going to have a nice break after that, about 10 days or so, and then they're going to face Toledo. Oh, and in that 10-day span, you might have a Big Ten game or two. Sometimes you see that sprinkled in with a couple of conference games before you turn into the New Year calendar. It's Toledo. Toledo's kind of interesting. Really good regular season team. They win a lot of MAC regular season titles. I think it's 6 of the last 8 or 5 of the last 7. They win it a lot. But they don't win in the postseason. That's kind of the knock on the Rockets right now. They haven't made the NCAA tournament in a long time. But, again, we're not playing them in the NCAA tournament. At least, we could. But we're playing them in the Breslin Center on December 16th. Again, win a lot of regular season games. I keep rehashing it, but Tom Izzo loves to schedule these challenging mid-major opponents where you just kind of look at, you say Toledo, and just kind of check off the W box in your own prediction head. But, again, Toledo's a tough mid-major. You got the annual game against Oakland. Greg Campy and Tom Izzo are the best of friends. They don't hide it, and they're going to play each other some more. It's going to be in Little Caesars Arena for another year. I believe they scheduled more games in 26 and 27 to be in the Breslin Center, but this one will be in LCA again. It was kind of a close game at the half against the Golden Grizzlies last year. MSU pulled away in the second half. You saw that kind of a lot, where MSU would kind of let teams into it in the first half and then go in the second half. But that's the penultimate non-conference game. Last one's against Cornell. That's a solid Ivy League program. Again, Ivy League teams have had some success in the NCAA tournament as of late. We saw Princeton make the Sweet 16 a couple of years ago. So again, if you get a good Ivy League team, they're solid. They're going to play smart. Kind of low-hanging fruit of a joke there, but okay, this is up and down. This is just, there's not one team on here where it's just you can expect Michigan State to just stroll in and win by 50 in their sleep. You might have some lower ranked teams as far as the total power rankings and KenPom, but there's redeeming qualities about every single team that's on this list, whether how they played Michigan State in the past, what conference they're in, or just how good they've been last couple of years, if they've made the NCAA tournament, if they're putting hardware in their trophy shelves. This is kind of your classic Tom Izzo non-conference schedule. Last year's, they didn't play a ton of tremendous teams. You had Maui, you played Colorado, you played North Carolina, you played Memphis. Again, some pretty solid opponents there. But again, you got Duke coming into town now. You got Arkansas, you've got Kentucky, you've got several blue bloods. They're putting it all on the line before you even get to the grind of the Big Ten schedule. To me, this is fun. I don't like it when teams schedule, the worst teams they can in their basketball non-conference schedule, especially with how much of an impact strength of schedule can have come February and March. If Michigan State is sitting there, again, we're just talking purely hypothetical, if they struggle in the Big Ten, who knows? If they can get a win or two against a Duke, against a North Carolina, that is going to do absolute wonders for the discussion about where they should be seated in the conversation come March. So, again, Tom Izzo, who are we to doubt his methods? He's made the last 26, really 27 NCAA tournaments for a reason, and he has often done it because he has his teams ready for the Big Ten because of these non-conference schedules, and this one especially is going to be a good one. That's all I have for you guys today. Jacob Katzanika, thank you guys for watching. We'll be continuing to cover Michigan State basketball, football, hockey, the whole 9 yards. Continue to keep tuning in to Spartan Nation, and I'll see you guys around.